beautiful people, and welcome to another Galactic Mayan astrology report. I am out in the sunshine on the land again, and it feels wonderful to be able to deliver these transmissions on the earth again. And yeah, in the UK we're kind of coming out of the winter now, and I'm really feeling alive again, which is wonderful. So this is a Galactic Mayan astrology report for the 24th of April 2021, and the Wavespell process that we are moving into is the central column of our whole process. So the process is mapped out like a grid with columns, and now Blue Monkey is in the centre, and Blue Monkey is the energy that we're moving into. So Blue Monkey is a blue sign, and the blue signs are all about transformation. You know, it's where we go from one way of being to another way of being. And the energy of Blue Monkey is really about the divine child. So the divine child being the child of the earth and the heavens, you know, the galactic and the planetary. And you know, the planetary being a galactic consciousness anyway, because we're floating through space, but this balance between being in our bodies and opening our awareness through our bodies, and also being divine channels, and you know, working with the higher mind and following the synchronistic flow. Now, the energy of Blue Monkey is really about play, and as with all of the archetypes, you know, the essence of the archetype, in order to reach that, we have to go through a personal development journey. As a general rule, when we've been conditioned humans, which I would say that most people on the planet have become, you know, we have to go through the process of its opposite to get to the core. So this energy of playfulness and this energy of, you know, being able to behave like children, in the sense of everything's exciting, everything's an adventure, everything's expressed. And I mean like the untamed child spirit, not a child that's been abused, which most of us were. The essence of that whole, wow, this is a playground, this reality is a playground, this reality is a dream, and not necessarily like the conscious comprehension of that, but approaching life as such. And you know, it's fascinating the way that fear works, because fear really takes us out of that experience of being in true surrender and joy, you know. And when we are really living, we're in joy. That's how we feel, isn't it? There's like a joyfulness to be alive. But as I say, we have beamed into a conditioning factory, and I would say the whole purpose is so that we can unravel it. It's like we build it to unravel it, to reclaim it, which is, you know, such a powerful process. But yeah, our journey with Blue Monkey is essentially about shedding fear, you know, and that's really this whole thing of it being the core of who we are, because it's the central column. You know, the core of who we are has been traumatized and has been programmed to be fearful, whether that's been an agenda or whether it's been a byproduct of the trauma that's been passed down through the planet. You know, no matter which way you see it, it kind of doesn't matter. The reality is that, you know, we have been conditioned to be afraid, and that is the thing that is always in our way. It's never them, it's never out there, it's always in here. Which is why I personally feel it's really important for us to just notice what we are ingesting. You know, you might feel like, I found the truth, but going down that rabbit hole of truth, if it's causing you to be afraid, what's the most important thing? And I'm not saying that we need to be ignorant, but you don't necessarily need to know the inner workings of the machine to recognize it's a machine and then choose to do something different. So with this fear, you know, as we are the creators and, you know, the aligners of our reality, you know, there are an infinite amount of possibilities of what could be playing out within our personal and collective reality. And it is us, the human being, and the consciousness of the human being that dictates what it is that we're aligning with, what are we aligning with at each point, you know, and fear is a denser vibration. So if we're in fear, we're going to be magnetizing or creating or aligning with a denser vibrational reality, which I would say is not really what people on a conscious level would desire to align with. So how do we get back to play? How do we get back to being in an experience of reality that is eased, you know, where we're in flow, where we are able to be present? Because this is another beautiful thing about children and the medicine that this, you know, the least conditioned members of our human family really bring, is presence. You know, they're able to become completely enwrapped in, you know, playing with a daisy for a while, or there's just such a without trying, an ability to just drop in and be present. And yeah, that's part of the way that the human brain develops, but I think it's also a really big part of the schooling system and all of that side of things, which, as you know, if you've been following me for a while, is something that I'm very passionate about, and, you know, continuing to unravel with things that I'm writing at the moment. But really the key for all of these different processes is about our individual process. It's like the archetypes are made up or lived through personal experience, and our personal experience morphs us, you know, it morphs us into something, especially when it's around trauma and fear. You know, it creates an extra layer. When we go through something that hurts us, we create something to protect us, which is phenomenal, and it's an amazing capacity to have, but it's also very limiting. So when it comes to our personal experience, why is it that you can't feel free? Why is it that you feel scared? And not necessarily about the global agenda. What about your personal experience within your family? Because that's always where it starts. It's always our microcosm, is always where it ripples out from. So what does your inner child need? You know, that's really what this is about. It's like reclaiming and reconnecting with our inner children and figuring out how we can parent them and make them feel safe, so that that part of us is able to be free within reality again. So also within this process, there's a great opportunity. I'm hoping that it's not going to be really windy on the mic. I'm just going to wait for that little thing to pass. We shall see what happens. I'll put my arm there for a bit. So within this process, we really get the opportunity to see what it is that sets us on fire. What is our heart's desire? You know, when we're not operating from fear and limitation, what is it that we want to do? What is it that we want to create? And, you know, I'm almost sure that really when we're not operating from fear, it's always collective. You know, it's always something about us as opposed to I. And following what it is that lights us up is everything. So within this Wavespell process, you're working with your inner child, creating space for any fear that you're really holding on with is able to dissipate. You know, what do you need to create emotional safety for yourself? What do you need to create safety for your inner child? And then also, what is it that lights you up, and how can you align greater and greater to what it is that lights you up? What do you need to do? You know, what feels amazing, and how can you create and connect to more of that? So I hope that you have a beautiful central process, and I hope wherever you are in the world that you are remembering that nothing's changed in one sense. You know, the mystical, magical reality that we are a part of, we're still a part of. You know, just allowing the conditioning stories to play out, and if you want to get involved with them, get involved with them, but always know that nothing has changed. Nothing can ever change with this reality, in the sense of, you know, the building blocks of existence, and our consciousness is the guide. So
just be discerning, you know. Alright, sweethearts, have a beautiful, beautiful wave spell, and see you next time.